I'm honored and humbled to be here today as a public servant for one of the poorest parts of our state. And wanted to thank each and every one of you who took the efforts to come to our Capitol and to share your voices. As a public servant, it's our duty to be a voice for the voiceless, to remember where we came from and where our roots are. As a son of the Valley, being born and raised in some communities that so many of you know that struggle each and every day, I'm up here fighting for resources to bring back home. So I wanted to talk about some of the things that we have done, that we are working on, and where our vision leads us. Because what I knew as an emergency room doctor was that I could not see my people alone. And that I knew I needed to fight for help, and one of the ways we fight for help is having our voices be heard together. My value is the same value that so many of you share, which is that health care is a human right. That every person within our community deserves affordable, accessible health care. We shouldn't see people on the fringes be left behind. For what we have too often is when we breathe the dirtiest air in our country, when we're exposed to the water conditions that happen in our backyards, that our kids are exposed, and that has stressful reactions. What I am working on right now is recognizing the effect that that trauma has on our community. And want to tell you where my head is, and where it's always been. My nose is usually in the spine of a book. And what I am reading now is a wonderful book called The Deepest Well, written by Nadine Burke Harris, a pediatrician out of Oakland. I want to tell you that this new research is something that each and every one of us should be looking into. Adverse childhood experiences are an evidence-based program that is starting to show the scarring effects that trauma and abject poverty have on our communities. When we start recognizing and realizing the ways in which we can make improvements into our kids' lives, I believe we'll actually start making a difference for our community. Last year, we were successful in making sure that $9.6 million is staying within Fresno County for a pilot program that will put 1,300 kids through early childhood education. It will mean that we can finally start realizing the benefits that I had the same successes in having myself. I would not be where I am today if it were not for many of the public programs that helped us to succeed. And my honor is chairing the Budget Subcommittee for Health and Human Services. And I'm trying to figure out how to bring that money back home. Because now what we know is that our community is struggling, and what we're looking for is to figure out how we get a hand up. And one of the things that we need to realize is that we got to meet people where they're at. That we actually have to help by going into their homes. Now, we got a problem in Fresno. I'm sure it's a problem all through the valley, and that is that our kids are dying. That we have infant mortality rates that sometimes can match third world countries. And what we are going to do, and what you have seen from us, is trying to go into people's homes, a home visiting program that will help to recognize the problems that are happening within our houses. Seeing if there's lead paint on the wall, recognizing that the pipes within our homes that people are renting are toxic and exposing people to stress. We have to start figuring out how to help people. So going in and having a home visiting program will do just that. Now you all know that we are California. We aren't going to follow any other states. We're leading. And what we're trying to do is recognize that this environment doesn't belong to anyone in particular. It belongs to all of us. And that we have to figure out how to make measurable and incremental improvements. I was proud that our state decided to have a 40% reduction in carbon over the next decade. I believe that we needed to support Senate Bill 623 last year and was a vocal supporter for it because we need to have healthy water and clean water for every resident in the state of California. Now, I believe we must have better than that representation that we have right now. When I look around this community, this is my community. And when I look at that board, that's not a representative board. And so I'm going to want to look to you and ask you how we can help to solve the discrepancies. How do we fix to make sure that our voices are heard? And one of the ways that the Valley will finally rise is for us to rise up as one. And to realize that our voice must be heard. Now we know for this to be a golden state for all, that we must take care of those of us who are just coming to this country. That all of us have an immigrant story, and it's what makes America great, is that we can all dream the great American dream. And that it's not just for those who are here right now, but those who are still striving to be included within our community. Now I recognize that immigrants couldn't vote to put me in this office, but they're 20% of the community that I come from, and I fight for them as well. Now, I'll try not to talk too long, because as an assembly member, we actually have time limits. I'm trying to recognize, and you'll hear from me a little bit outside. But I hope what you hear is that I am fired up because of the urgency of the problems within our community. That you would not have taken time out of your work, you would not have taken time to come up here if you did not feel that same urgency. So thank you for taking and contributing to our representative democracy. Thank you for making this a better state, and let's try and make this a golden state for all. Thank you very much.